Wistoria, wand and sword. Don't forsake the name like it doesn't mean anything, because where there's a lone sword, there's a wand. We got ourselves the ultimate climax. We got ourselves a monster that is one beam away from ending one of the main characters' lives, and we got ourselves a series of characters being meek and then building resolve. Will MC Rizzler Will of the Lone Sword lead his friends to survival, or will he lead them to death? Spoiler warning, guys, for Wistoria, Wand and Sword, Episode 11, The True Name of Cowards. There's no need to mince words for what is to come in this episode, so let's just jump right into it. After the villains reveal themselves and let the heroes know more about them for no reason, they left that gigantic monster that left Wignall to character develop after a big swipe to his useless arm. It allowed Will's two side ladies to bond over ineptitude, and it allowed the two assholes to continue being two assholes. Now, it's the party of students with potential versus a monster that is unequivocally many times stronger than any enemy that they've ever faced. Will gets Liana to snap out of her self-wallowing to lead their team to make a run for it. Wignall pulls the "you guys go ahead, I'm feeling pretty good about my illusions after I erected the biggest wood I've ever erected."
Never mind.
Hard Rocks is nothing for a 270,000 credited equivalent mage monster, as Will Serfort touches Wignall's post-erected illusions to escape from the evil Grand Duke. Eventually, they all run into a dead end where the evil guards and evil sentinels are being controlled by the evil Grand Duke. The evil Grand Duke has got all these guards and sentinels on a mission to find this little team of Ningans. The assholes inside Lightning are starting to feel the despair and frustration of their trapped situation, but MC Rizzler Will pulls the tatakao. We fight for our right to live! And there's no other way than to kill this monster that is usually on the 25th floor. That's now on the 11th floor. Julius pulls the Munosha card, even though he got pummeled in front of tens of thousands, but all the homies start to believe in the MC Rizzler Will, and of course, Colette will do anything Will says. And whatever Shion said, we can just translate that into him actually believing in the laggard, and Wignall has experienced firsthand, like literally a minute ago, that Will saved his life and his manhood, that allowed him to erect the biggest elf wood he could have ever imagined. Then he tells Liana, "I let him touch me." Sorry, Liana, the elf believes in Will's lone sword. With that being said, Liana concedes her leadership for the shield. That's actually a sword. Julius still needs another pummeling, but will be a character I think will grow on the audience as we go deeper into the story. Will begs Julius to lend them their strength, as he will tell Julius how to hone elfie spells, as he obviously knows firsthand. The crew, led by the Lone Sword, pulls up to the evil Grand Duke, and the monster starts shooting beams out of its mouth. As Julius begins his Arsewise incantation, and one by one, each of his clones gets blasted down. It flashes back to literally a minute ago, where Will informs Julius about Elfie's tricks that the Arsewise incantation can keep going with his doubles. Meaning, Julius can cast super duper strong spells without being a sitting duck. Julius feels the pressure with all this surviving stuff being put mainly on him, and he runs out to continue finishing the incantation after all of his ice doubles get blasted down. And just as the evil Grand Duke gets ready to blast the real Julius down, Will tells them, "Just let him die." Just kidding, but it would be hilarious though. Will gets everyone to cover for Julius as he gets ready to launch his Arsewise spell. Wignall, Colette, and Shion shoot baby spells at the Grand Duke. But it's literally child's play, as Will pulls out his lone sword to hopefully be enough of a decoy for Julius to get off his spell. As Will and the others work as a team, Julius starts saying some magical gibberish and launches Arminta Auliscus. But that ain't no thing for the Grand Duke, as it blocks that spell. So that means it is time for the Owen Sick Nasty. With Julius' spell slowing down the monster, Liana is so fast that she should get close enough to deal damage. But the villains are not stupid villains, as they put a barrier on the evil Grand Duke in advance that deflect Liana's attacks. And this is where it all goes wrong with the minutia. Just when we thought Kiki can do it all and protect Will's symbol of hope, light, and the one thing Elfie gave him before she dumped him. His goggles has been destroyed by the evil Grand Duke. The evil monster hits him where it hurts the most. His feelings. After seeing Will being so courageous, helping character develop Wignall, now he's back to being just simply meek Will. As heartbreaking as it is for Will to lose something that he put so much value in, it's even worse for our Colette, who always seems to be there when he's down in the dumps. With the failure of Lyanna delivering a death blow to the Grand Duke, Lyanna takes it upon herself as a lineage of knights that have one of the worst lifespans known to mankind to hold the Grand Duke at bay so everyone can escape, and so Wignall steps forward as well. After Will helped them discover his inner giant wood, he too wants to protect the now distraught leader of the Lone Sword. Lyanna and Wignall put on an epic display of magic, but when you're evil and grand, a couple of cast-offs that aren't even in the tower yet is too weak to fend off this crazy beast. Shion is stuck between a crappy Daijobu situation that has him feeling disgraced if he ran, but at the same time, he is leaving Lyanna and Wignall's eventual deaths to be left in vain. Will stops Shion to tell him to hit him like you never hit him before. Without Elfie's goggles, the worst version of Will is back, but worser, as meek Will makes a reappearance to tell Shion that he's scared. And so now, Shion gets to finally exercise his Daijobu relief and knock some sense into Will. Will finally snaps out of it to stop Shion's weak-ass punches and thanks him for knocking out his meek. Will picks back up his lone sword and rushes in to die with Lyanna and Wignall, and Shion asks a dumbass question like we didn't all just witness him beat the crap out of Will's meek. And this is where I mentioned in a previous video about this show's theme of courage being utilized in like literally every shonen, but it's how you use it. And of course, it's being used in the most obvious moments, but just because it's obvious doesn't make it less exciting. While courage isn't anything new to be used for epic moments, this is actually the start of this courage in Wistoria being used in various instances in very, very important situations. As cliche as it sounds to build resolve and build courage when you're scared, to me, it's all about how well these scenes are executed and how meaningful it is for you to receive it from the characters. Colette backs up Will like she always does and tells Shion, have you ever held a lone sword before, Shion? With wands, we all fight far, far away like pussies, while the sword must face its fears head on, up close, like really up close. Did you see what happened to Wignall? That shit is terrifying. So of course Will is always scared, but he faces it head on, because running away like a bitch is an even scarier sight to behold. What Will has is quite simply Riz, aka courage. Will dashes towards the evil Grand Duke and realizes that the only way they can win is to cut off its wings, and then Colette shoots some pebbles at it. It looks like with Lyanna and Wignall out of commission, Will and Colette must fight it just between the two. Meek Will keeps trying to come out while he's in the middle of a life or death situation, and because Elfie's goggles is gone, I think I could speak for most of us that we all feel worser if we didn't try our absolute best to save our bullies, friends. However, whenever meek Will tries to surface, there's always a sympathy booty, Colette Loire, who is literally there almost every single episode to protect the meek, while Elfie just sleeps. Without Kiki, if Will takes one hit, he's dead. But like what we've learned in episode 1 with Werkner Sensei, Will is exceptional at learning and adapting on the fly in battle and deflects the Grand Duke's attacks. Colette does her best Lyanna and Elfie impression and backs up Will with their own sick nasty just for Will to try to climax. Shion, fueled by his Vegeta complex, cannot allow the protagonist to outdo him, so he flies in on a flaming bird to deliver some heat. This is where the calm before the climax begins. The wand that couldn't defeat the Grand Duke, and the sword that couldn't defeat the Grand Duke. And once Will mentioned the sword, a man that always thinks about Will's sword is on his mind, and drops a hint that this entire anime is, of course, Wistoria, wand and sword. We get a taste of some backstory of some of the answers to why Will and Elfie are orphans. This builds more into the lore of Wistoria, as this is no accident of why they were orphans. This is the first step to one of the biggest steps towards Will becoming a straight badass and has shown fire flames at your boy's lone sword. It is the power of Whis. It's Will's ability as a sword to finally weaponize the power of magic. And then he cuts down the evil Grand Duke. While this wasn't the most out of this world climactic moment in a shonen series, I really couldn't help but feel chills in this moment, as the show does a really good job building these moments up, using the right kind of music, building the right vibes for these moments, and making it feel a lot more exciting than maybe it really is. But the fact that I got chills means that this was a pretty incredible moment. So what does a good shonen need? A good shonen would need a good main plot, a good fight with twists and turns, and down moments to slowly build you back up, to just eventually knock you back down. But while you are down and almost out, that builds for the epic climax that coincides with a huge revelation, and that revelation is partially of Will's past and likely Elfie's as well. And that huge revelation of Will discovering or rediscovering this new ability between the wand and sword, this becomes a moment where Will becomes the least useless as he's ever been as a character. And I think we can finally get over that hump of the story continuously making us feel like Will is useless when he's actually not. Or maybe they might keep doing it actually. I guess there's only one more episode, so I'm gonna reserve my Will's abilities and his future character development for the next season, when Will continually take that big step forward as a character and continually try to overcome all the obstacles that we know he's continually been facing. I think the start of this arc, along with bringing along all the other characters that are central to the story, and Will obtaining these new allies and friends, it's going to keep pushing this story into maintaining this level of shonen excitement. As from this point forward, there isn't really any slow downtime. Every moment from here on feels like it's going to be pretty exciting, at least from the manga perspective. Like, there's always something to look forward to, and when you have new allies and you start to like these characters more and more, you don't want to see anything bad happen to them. Overall, this episode was a perfect episode with all the hallmarks of a good shonen. While Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Demon Slayer are ending or have ended, Wistoria is in a perfect place right now to rise up even further to get your shonen fix. If you like heavy main plot stuff and mystery and lots of fighting, you're gonna enjoy Wistoria. And overall, as a series, there's just so much to look forward to, as we just seen Will use this Whis ability, and we still don't know much about the villains except their motivations to take down this barrier that's holding up this fake sky. There's going to be a ton of new characters to look forward to, and we're gonna get to see more and more of the Magia Vander, even in the manga right now, which is not that far ahead, but there's still a significant amount of content that's ahead. That leaves ton of mystery that I'm looking forward to. That keeps this story super duper exciting. This moment right now is probably the most I've been excited about Wistoria, so I'm gonna keep reading it for sure, and I can't wait to see the last episode. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode, Wistoria, Wand and Sword, episode 11, The True Name of Cowards. And do me a favor guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, check out my blog at otakusen.com. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.